This is a Planet Vero production for Evergreen Media. And now it's time to put you on the spot with EGM.
Hello and welcome to On the Spot with EGM. I'm Jesse Krisky. Thank you for joining us today. We've got a good one, coming up very soon is the upcoming production at Riverside Theater called 42nd Street. And joining us today is Julian Marsh from 42nd Street. Please welcome Patrick Ryan Sullivan. Hey, Patrick Ryan Sullivan, how are you?
Hey, Jesse, I'm doing well. Thank you so much.
You're good. All right, it's great to have you here. Now, I've gone over your bio sheet. You've played a ton of characters. You've played Gaston in Beauty and the Beast.
I did.
What's it like to be the object of everyone's desire in town?
Oh, Gaston's just misunderstood.
Yeah.
Nobody understands how big of a heart he actually has.
You've played a ton of characters in a ton of plays. To Kill a Mockingbird. I mean, The Beauty and the Beast, Titanic, My Fair Lady, Les Mis, Guys and Dolls. I mean, you have played everybody and everything, and it's incredible. And you were born in Titusville. So tell us, what made you want to become an actor? Was there a point in your life where you said, this is what I really want to be? I really want to be on stage.
I think so. I played college football and was majoring in music while I was in college, and I ended up getting a tour that went to Japan with it was a joint Japanese-American production, and it had both languages and both styles of music, and we had to speak Japanese in the show at times also. Huh. And I found it very beautiful in Japan that on either side, on stage right and stage left, there was a shrine to remind you when you go out on stage that it's a very spiritual thing that you're doing, and that there are people in the audience that will be changed. It's not they might be changed, and they could be changed for the good or the bad or whatever it is. So I remember after working with this Japanese company, I'm like, it feels like a calling, and it feels like what I should do for the rest of my life, and I've been very fortunate to do that.
That's awesome. Where'd you play college football?
University of Louisiana Raging Cajuns.
Oh, all right. Very good. Yeah. They're up and coming right now, as a matter of fact.
They are. We were not up and coming at the time. Yeah. My very first start there was against the University of Florida, and they beat us 45-0. And it would happen to be Emmitt Smith's very first start, too.
Is that right?
And I was a defensive back, so I spent a lot of time trying to chase him down.
Oh, you might have had a long day with that. Yeah.
It was a very long 60 minutes.
Now, you've had an interesting upbringing. You were raised in the South Pacific Islands.
Correct, a little island called Kwajalein.
Yeah.
My dad worked for the Cape, and we moved out there when I was 5 till about 10 years old.
And so you fell in love with acting in Japan.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. It was a truly life-changing experience for all that were involved in that production.
Very good, very good. And so, for somebody who doesn't know much about 42nd Street, like myself, tell us a little bit about 42nd Street. Give us kind of a rundown about what we're going to expect for this.
Cool. It's a Depression-era musical, so it's right after the Depression. Broadway is opening back up for the first time. Julian Marsh, who is my character, is, according to the script, the greatest director on Broadway. He's kind of a Busby Berkeley type of person. Huge cast, lots of tap dancing, some very cutting-edge stuff. Also for the time period. And so you get to witness the show from the first audition to opening night. And you get to see all the tensions and stress, as well as losing one character on opening night and then trying to find somebody to replace that character to try to do the show again. And so it's filled with the drama of theater, and it's a love letter to New York also. If you love theater and you enjoy New York, you're going to love this show because it's just a love letter to both of those things.
That's great, yeah. So 42nd Street plays April 11th, and I'm trying to pull up the graphic here. April 11th through the 30th, and that's at the Riverside Theater, not the Riverside Theater. It's at Riverside Theater. You can go to riversidetheater.com for tickets, and it's really a great story. It says a humble, naive actress named Peggy Sawyer comes to the big city to audition. She arrives late. The auditions have already occurred, but when the star of the show breaks her ankle on opening night, Peggy is unexpectedly pushed to center stage and not only saves the show, but becomes a big star. And so that's awesome. And you kind of have a story like that in your background, right? As far as you were helping out with a play, and then something happened to someone.
Yeah, and it was in Melbourne, Florida. Actually, I was helping a high school production do 42nd Street. They asked me to come in and just speak to them about the show.
Yeah.
And on opening night, the full orchestra, everything, their Julian Marsh got into a car crash coming to the theater. He was totally fine, but he had to deal with the police and all of that stuff. So they told the audience they were going to not have the show. And I was out in the house, and I jumped up and said, I'll do it. And I'd just done a production of it in Pittsburgh. So we went up, had about 5 minutes with the cast, and said, look, guys, just treat me like I'm the greatest director on Broadway. I'll find my lights, say your lines, we're all going to be good. And it was really a very, very cool experience.
That's funny. That's great. And so this is not your first time playing Julian Marsh in 42nd Street, right?
Right. I've played it 11 times around the country and did the first national tour and did Broadway for a year. The tour for a year, Broadway for a year, and then 9 other productions around the country.
All right. So you know this character in and out, basically.
I do.
Yeah. You've stepped in at a moment's notice to take over the character. So that's awesome. In your real life, can you relate to the character Julian at all?
Yes. There are some ways. He's a hard man.
Yeah.
I relate so incredibly to his passion for theater. As I truly love what I do for a career, and I feel so fortunate to be able to do it. And Julian's passion for theater just shines through, sometimes in a very hard way. You know, he can be very hard on Peggy, how you brought her up as he's teaching her to be the star. It's hard. But you get to see in the very last scene, he does a wonderful speech to her about what theater is. And I believe every word of it.
Very good. All right. Well, we can't wait to see it. It's 42nd Street. Performances are Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 7:30, Fridays and Saturdays at 8, with matinees on Wednesdays, select Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays at 2 p.m. And, of course, it runs April 11th through the 30th, and that's at Riverside Theater. And so tell me, what is there something about the play that's we might be surprised with that we don't already know?
You know what? The story in and of itself, because it's been told for centuries about the young innocent person showing up and making good. I think I get touted as one of the stars of this show. When you see the show, you'll realize that I'm not the star. I'm just pushing the story forward.
Okay.
When the show begins, you're going to see world-class tap dancing from the second the curtain raises, and you'll know immediately who the stars are. I think the opening number of this show, it shocks audiences whether you know it or whether you don't know it. It's huge and beautiful, and you get to see 30 stars do their thing.
Awesome. All right. So lots of tap dancing, lots of songs, lots of dances, and some great acting. That's what
and you know what? And you'll know all the music.
Yeah.
You know, it's Harry Warren, Al Dubin. You know, they've all these classic songs from the 30s. You'll be tapping your foot and going, I know that one. That's when my dad saw the show. He's like, I knew that. Oh, I know that song too.
That's great. All right. Awesome. Well, we can't wait to see it. 42nd Street at Riverside Theater, April 11th through the 30th. You can get tickets by calling the box office at 772-231-6990, or you can go to riversidetheater.com. That's TheATRE.com. That's the way you spell it for live theater, I'm told. So, all right, very good. So we can't wait for the show. Patrick, Ryan Sullivan, thank you very much. We're going to see you at 42nd Street at Riverside Theater.
It's my pleasure, Jesse.
Yeah, very good. All right, thanks for listening to Planet Vero Radio. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, we'll see you later.